friends audaciously snatched it back and demanded that audiences make their peace without Ross and Rachel. The door never fully closed on them, and the show repeatedly juked and feinted in the direction of bringing them back together without ever really doing so. It comes as a shock to later realize, near the end of the show's run, in thinking about Ross and Rachel as perpetually on the verge of getting back together, that they had in fact been apart for 2/3 of the show. Ross and Rachel alternated between tenderness and juvenile bickering, never able to settle into a comfortable routine as friends. At the close of the 3rd season, audiences were left to wonder which door Ross would enter at the beach house where the crew was staying, Rachel's or that of his girlfriend Bonnie, Christine Taylor. Ross and Rachel had kissed after she admitted she had broken up with him because she was mad, and all seemed on the brink of being restored. The writers themselves did not know how they would resolve the cliffhanger. They weren't sure which door Ross would enter at the start of the next season. So it was something of a surprise even to them that the 4th season opener, the one with the jellyfish, would dispatch their romance with such brutal efficiency. Rachel's hopeful smile as he approaches her after choosing her door is heartbreaking, but soon, she hands Ross an 18-page letter to read at the end of a late night spent talking, and Ross accidentally falls asleep partway through. "Does it?" Rachel asks him the next morning, and Ross, utterly clueless, stumbles his way into an answer. "It does." Rachel hugs him with relief, and it is not until Ross finally reads the entire letter that he understands what he has agreed to. "It so does not," he sulks to himself. Ross now realizes he has been asked if he can accept full responsibility for what went wrong in their relationship, so that Rachel can begin to trust him again. The precise question, however strangely phrased, was, "Does that seem like something you can do?" When Rachel gently slaps his face while telling him that he just needed a bit of maturity and perspective to see the error of his ways, Ross snaps. There is an immediate cut to the kitchen, where Monica overhears Ross returning to his mantra, now delivered at maximal volume. "We were on a break!" Ross goes on to critique not just the message, but the medium itself. "It was 5:30 in the morning, and you had rambled on for 18 pages. He pauses, bending over to pick up his shoes before delivering the coup de grace. "Front and back!" The two lovers seem to bring out the absolute worst in each other, with Ross a petulant, whining pedant, and Rachel a frosty queen bee. "I can't believe I even thought of getting back together with you," Rachel tells him. "We are so over." Ross makes a sad face and pretends to cry before snapping back into martial severity. "Fine by me." Rachel and Ross are apart, but continue to define themselves by each other's absence. In the one with Joey's new girlfriend, they each wind up in an imaginary relationship. Rachel with a college student, Ross with a woman who is actually just using his services as a babysitter, out of the desire to reduce the other to hopeless jealousy. Even when more serious relationships develop, they are continually haunted by what once was. Ross begins to date visiting Brit Emily, Helen Baxendale, and when the two unexpectedly get engaged, Rachel tries her best to make her peace with it. "I'm happy for them," she announces, before getting flustered and aiming her sights a bit lower. "I'm working on it." Rachel plans to skip the wedding, telling Monica, "It's Ross. How can I watch him get married?" "I'm not in love with Ross," she later says to Phoebe, fleshing out her thoughts. "I'm not going to Ross's wedding because he's my ex-boyfriend, and that would be really uncomfortable. Not because I'm still in love with him." Rachel aggressively trims some flowers with a pair of scissors as she carries on. "Hey, I like Ross as much as the next guy. Clearly I have feelings for him, but feelings don't mean love. Yeah, I still have loving feelings for Ross, yeah. I have continuing feelings of love, but that doesn't mean that I'm still in love with him. I have sexual feelings for him, but I do love him." Rachel finally hears herself and leaps out of her chair appalled. "Why didn't you tell me?" Friends keeps its attention on Ross and Rachel by framing its emotional storylines through the perspective of their one-time and potentially future love.